Jack and Charlie, you guys have known me long enough. You know I'm about to dig up some dirt right now.
Yeah. Here we
So
go.
you got KL who has the original idea, and then you have
Right.
Pierre who's in the military who
Why you
don't take
trying to
no
start?
doo doo.
You see this? Yeah. You see what he's doing?
So I want to know, do you guys go like rock paper scissors when you guys are at that one point in when you're trying to make a decision, or is just you guys plead your case and best man wins?
Yeah, usually it's we plead our case, best man wins. A lot of times it really doesn't come down to that,
Oh,
because like I say, right now we're just at a point to where like creatively we're just like in sync, right? And so like Kevin, he's the creator of it. So like I tell him like he has ideas already in his head that that I'm not aware of, that he has, that he might not necessarily be aware of, but he is still formulating. And so
Yeah.
I might send him something, like a scene or two or whatever, and it's like, okay, yeah, that I was thinking of something different, or damn, I really like that. Like that's it, or and he'll just we'll just talk about it,
yeah.
what I tell him, and that's about being about being a good partner, collaboration, and stuff like that. What I tell him is, look, I'll send you, you know, 30 pages, like with the Baba Wazi. Look, it don't matter if we use any of those 30. Like we
Mm.
can use one line from it, we can use 10 pages from it, or we
Uh,
can use none of the pages.
Mhm.
But it's just important to getting that, getting the ideas out, showing them, what my thought process is, and then just linking it up together. And that's the way we come up with, a lot of great material. So
yeah.
Question, Pierre.
yeah,
When you're writing, and this is for you too,
uh-huh.
Evan. When you guys are writing, is it more so therapeutic for you guys in general? So because it seems
Yeah,
like you easily can spit out 30 pages, and then
right.
like
Yeah,
that's why it doesn't
absolutely.
really matter. But you
Yeah,
had fun
yeah.
writing it anyway, and now you just say,
Exactly. Yeah,
okay,
and that's what I tell Kathy. Especially since I was, like I said, I pretty much stifled my creativity for about a good, 12 years.
So what
Just
you're
to
saying is
get to the
kids
point.
just squash creativity.
Well, yeah, they
Look
do.
at
To a certain extent, they do because they take so much energy and
yeah,
focus. You know what I'm saying? And I want to be attentive to my family. I want my kids to know who I am, especially being in the military. With deployments and tours of duty and stuff like that. So I
right.
always wanted to be there for my kids, be there for those special events. And a lot of times when it comes to, especially being creative, especially with writing, like you're trying to come up with something from scratch,
right,
Right.
right? So it takes a certain amount of energy and mental, fortitude for you to do that. And so
Hmm.
I've gotten to a point to where I can do that, you know. Um, and so yeah, that's why for me, like I say, giving Kevin 10 pages, 30 pages, however many pages, it's just about getting those reps.
Yeah.
While I took my hiatus, Kevin knocked out 9 books.
yeah, yeah,
Look
Literally, literally.
that makes sense. Yeah,
No, and
He's
like
like, yeah,
that's
I
a great
did.
question. That's a great question because one of the reasons I created Fierce and Fat Cat, I needed to laugh. Like all my stuff that I've done has been serious. My last book was on mass incarceration, and
oh
I'm like,
man,
man,
it's
this is a
heavy. Yeah,
grind. It's hard. Writing is incredibly hard, right? It's a
Hmm.
hard thing. And so I was like, look, this next project, I want to laugh. I want it to be silly. I want it to be, I want to be fun. And
Uh,
so it's fun for us. I mean, it is, and it's work. It's a lot of work, but having done it for so long, I do it pretty efficiently. You know what I
hmm,
mean?
yeah.
And
yeah,
so, yeah. So that
And
that part, the hard part right now, I'm sure we'll talk about this later, isn't the creative part. It's the business,
oh.
right? It's
hmm,
the business side. That's
yeah,
what
Hmm.
we're like. The writing thing, we got cold, got that thing killed. You
Down.
know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it's like that's nothing.
Yeah.
But it's about the other stuff, which honestly probably matters more.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about doing, if you're able, that you can throw out 30 pages at the drop of a hat, 30 quality pages.
Right.
And that stuff is never lost, right? If you just keep those pages, you're going to see, like, eventually there's an episode, like, you guys are going to be writing an episode and you're going to be like, oh, yeah, there's this
Yeah.
one part of those 30 pages that we had,
Yeah.
and you pluck those out.
Yeah, like for our promos, we were, we wrote tons of sketches that will never be seen or whatever. But we're thinking about we did some promo videos before we launched the series. We did like some animation. This is very crude. So we can talk about the animation. We went through, this is our third animator, right? So we went through a series of animators. The first animator was a friend he was a friend. And
we good. We understand. We good.
But we came with these sketches, and we, like, one of them, we had two guys playing video games, and Fat Cat is dominating Furious, right? And they're just going back and forth talking stuff. That came out of one of the sketches that we scrapped, and then we just pulled it out and was like, "Hey, this could be a promo." So to your point, yeah, that stuff, it remains there, and we'd almost forgotten about it. And I think Pierre was the one like, "Hey, remember we talked about when they were like going back and forth saying bet, oh, we could get." People loved that promo, right? It got so much engagement, even with the like crude 2D. I mean, it was just their mouths moving, right? Blah, blah, like that, right? And people still loved it. So yeah, I think at that point we knew we had something. You know what I mean? When they could see the spirit of it.
And I've been checked out all the episodes, and you can see a definite progression of quality, both in writing and the animation part too. Yeah. So I can tell, me personally, because there's things that I can pick out, be like, this is happening, right? But number one, you guys never asked me, but number two, I can see that you guys are starting to pick a lot of those things out yourself, like something as simple as Furious. Like, now you guys have him, like, when he looks up and he's like, oh man, like his head actually moves back. Right. It's not always like rah, 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 and then
right.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of really cool things that you guys are starting to pick up on and starting to run the ball.
Yeah, and that's a part of that is also what we're doing is very hard, because our animator, shout out to Vanek Douglas, Vanek Arts, he's great. He's been our collaborator for the core from the King of R&B, Shallow, Lady Gaga Shallow, all the way through, Babawazi. And so us getting more familiar with each other, right? And he's in LA, he's out west. And so we're communicating. Actually, we need to do this more, but mostly it's like by phone, text message. Like, can you imagine? It's, the best artists produce like when people are there together, right? For that synergy.
Right.
Yeah. So he's a stranger. Pierre found him, and we've so what you're seeing is that progression as well, because he's really, really talented. And also we're limited based on our budget, right? And, you know what I mean? It can only be so smooth, right? It can only be, especially with one animator. I know you all can appreciate how difficult it is to do a 5 minutes of animation, right, by yourself, right? It's not a lot of our fans don't get that. Like, we've educated ourselves. Like, neither Pierre, we're the writers, we're the directors, the producers, but we've taken the time to learn the craft from to get perspective, right? So we can communicate. I've read all kind of books at this point. Don't quiz me on stuff, but we have. We did the job.
You understand, like, quality versus time, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.